Today in the show, we have the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by LaughingPlace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on September 20th, 2023, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. Tons of updates and tidbits from Destination D23, a Disney Parks cast album for an already extinct attraction, and more.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
The city of Anaheim has released an environmental impact report for public review for the ongoing Disneyland Forward initiative. The 872-page report does contain a few interesting images in regard to potential noise levels and also lay out potential future additions for the Disneyland Resort, although obviously these are just proposed additions as nothing is official as of now. While the release of this report was another step for Disneyland Forward, it does note, based on the analysis presented in the draft subsequent EIR, implementation of the project would result in significant unavoidable impacts related to air quality, cultural resources, greenhouse gas emissions, and noise. A statement of overriding considerations would be required for the Disneyland Forward project. A public workshop regarding the report and Disneyland Forward project will be held on October 9th, and the public review period ends on October 30th. After Disney settled a class action lawsuit regarding their initial Magic Key program, the terms of that settlement have now been released. In total, the settlement fund is set at $9.5 million. With 103,435 Dream Key pass holders, the approximate payout per pass holder would come to $67.41. Unlike many other class action suits, eligible class members will not need to submit claims and should receive an email about their eligibility. Recently, two more characters arrived in Batuu. Hera Syndulla and her trusty droid Chopper debuted at Disneyland's Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. The duo are expected to only stay for a limited time, and like with Ahsoka herself, it's unclear whether they'll be appearing in Walt Disney World anytime soon. So be sure to keep an eye out for them during their visit. With Fantasmic's continued downtime, Disneyland has announced a new limited-time nighttime entertainment offering titled The Heartbeat of New Orleans, A Living Mural. Set to a dynamic jazz score, projections on the rivers of America will tell a short, whimsical tale of a mischievous little frog from the bayou that leaps into the lively heartbeat of New Orleans when he is lured by the jazzy sounds he hears in the distance. This unique art installation will animate original artwork by Disney Live Entertainment graphic designer Marcella Marcy Sweat. The Heartbeat of New Orleans, A Living Mural, will debut on September 29th and will join Queenie and the Jambalaya Jazz Band in bringing entertainment to the rivers of America. While Rogers the Musical may have ended its limited run at Disney California Adventure, fans of the show can relive the memories by streaming the newly released cast album. The recording is now available on streaming platforms and includes 12 tracks. Alas, there's not yet word on whether a physical release could follow. Until then, fans can pull up their favorite music streaming service, hit repeat, and sing, "I could do this all day." Walt Disney World annual pass holders are being invited to a special event at ESPN Wide World of Sports later this month, full of shopping, snacks, and more. From September 20th through the 23rd, pass holders will be able to shop apparel, collectibles, and more from past merchandise collections for up to 60% off. They'll also be among the first to preview and purchase some items coming to Walt Disney World this fall using their regular pass holder discount. Plus, food trucks, photo ops, and exclusive food and beverage items will also be available to enjoy in and around the arena before and after shopping. This event will be held at the Advent Health Arena and will run from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Pass holders can secure their spot to shop by visiting the My Disney Experience app and joining the virtual queue starting at 8 a.m., and will have a 2-hour window to return to the arena once their group has been called. Good luck and happy shopping! A new addition to Disney's Boardwalk has been officially delayed. In an Instagram post, it was announced that the Cake Bake Shop from Gwendolyn Rogers is now targeting a grand opening early next year. Initially, plans called for the shop to debut later this year. In the post, the caption read, "All of us at the Cake Bake Shop are eager to unveil the beautiful details and charm that are coming to Disney's Boardwalk. As the excitement is building and our hearts are brimming with anticipation, we expect to open our doors early next year to welcome you to an unforgettable unforgettable dining experience. When it does open, guests will find the Cake Bake Shop in the former home of ESPN Club along Disney's boardwalk and just steps away from EPCOT's International Gateway. As promised in our previous segment, Disneyland Paris had a crap ton of stuff to announce. The resort has revealed more details about the reimagined Disneyland Hotel. The 5-star property, which has been closed since 2021, is set to welcome back guests on January 25th, 2024. The property has received a royal transformation, promising an infusion of even more Disney franchises with a renewed and immersive experience, being the first Disney hotel to take guests on a majestic journey celebrating Disney royalty. Rooms and suites have been entirely rethemed to various animated classics. The largest of these suites spans 1,206 square meters with a balcony that overlooks Main Street, USA. Additionally, all hotel areas have been entirely redesigned to match the property's new enhanced royal theme. This includes the restaurant Inventions being renamed the Royal Banquet, while the second restaurant will be named La Table des Lumières. Elsewhere, the former Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique experience will return as My Royal Dream. Bookings for the newly updated Disneyland Hotel at Disneyland Paris are now available. After slowly narrowing down the window from a year to a season to a month, Hong Kong Disneyland has finally announced an actual opening date for its World of Frozen expansion. The new area will officially debut on November 20th. For the first time in forever, guests will be invited from near and far to take part in a summer snow day. World of Frozen will feature a version of Frozen Ever After from EPCOT, as well as the all-new Wandering Oaken's Sliding Sleighs roller coaster. You'll also be able to meet with your favorite characters at the Playhouse in the Woods, in addition to a restaurant and merchandise locations. We'll hopefully get to see much more when Hong Kong Disneyland opens up the gates on November 20th. Ahead of Destination D23, Shanghai Disneyland gave more details on Zootopia coming to the park later this year. First, we learned that the attraction will be called Zootopia Hot Pursuit. Guests will become rookie police officers at the Zootopia Police Department as residents are gearing up for a big concert featuring Gazelle. The ride promises to traverse Zootopia's iconic terrains, sliding across the ice of Tundra Town, prowling for fugitives through the streets of Sahara Square, sharing a too-close-for-comfort encounter at Mystic Springs Oasis, and plummeting from the canopies of the Rainforest District, all in pursuit of Bellwether and her gang to track down Gazelle. Of course, the land will also feature one-of-a-kind live entertainment as well as meet and greets. Guests may also catch a glimpse of many of your favorite characters, including Frou Frou and her father, Mr. Big, along with Koslov the polar bear, Flash the sloth, Yax the yak, Duke Weaselton the weasel, and even the Hops family, who appear to interact amongst themselves throughout the day from the windows of Zootopia's beautifully iconic buildings. Of course, I want to know whether or not Emmett Otterton will be found anywhere. In any case, yes, there will be themed treats, including a paw print popsicle, donuts from the Big Donut, and more. The new area is expected to debut before the end of 2023. On top of the recent news that Ravensburger will be reprinting the first chapter of Disney Lorcana, we're now getting a look at the trading card game's next chapter. Titled Rise of the Floodborn, this update will feature some of the same characters found in the first chapter, along with some newcomers such as Raya, Winnie the Pooh, and more. Disney Lorcana Rise of the Floodborn features more than 200 cards with brand new artwork and will be released at local game stores on November 17th, followed by mass market retailers on December 1st. What's more, Ravensburger also revealed the Disney Lorcana Disney 100 edition. In celebration of Disney's 100th anniversary, this collection contains 6 cards from Disney Lorcana, the first chapter, and Disney Lorcana Rise of the Floodborn, featuring gorgeous, never-before-seen alternate artwork drawn by Disney animators from Walt Disney Animation Studios. Each card features an exclusive Disney 100 frame design, a satin holographic foil finish, and a copy of the animator's signature prominently displayed. This special set will also be available starting December 1st. And yep, they're just printing money now. And now it's time to bring back Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. Kyle, are you ready for all of this news?
I am so ready for all of this news. It's only about the 100th time I've talked about it. They didn't consider us when making the schedule for Destination D23, but we're here to catch you up on it now.
Yes, there was a lot of Destination D23 recently took place at Walt Disney World, and with it came a ton of Disney Parks news. I'm going to start with the Expo news because D23 announced that the 2024 D23 Expo would be taking place in Anaheim, California from August 9th through the 11th of 2024, but instead of actually calling it the D23 Expo, it'll just be D23, the ultimate Disney fan event. And ultimate has never been more accurate in the title of this event. Let's see. While the event will once again be taking over the Anaheim Convention Center, it will also apparently feature elements and activations across the city. This will include nightly events at the Honda Center, which is home to the Anaheim Ducks. Additionally, on August 8th, D23 will host an event at Disneyland, and earlier in the week, they'll also take fans to Angels Stadium. Tickets for D23, the Ultimate Disney Fan Event, will go on sale in spring 2024, with ticketing options to be announced later for access to the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center. Admission for D23 Day at Angel Stadium and the D23 Kickoff Celebration at Disneyland Resort will be available as separate ticketed events. And this is a ton of info. Number one, this whole D23 Day at Angel Stadium thing where you're going to see a game is so separate and days before that, frankly, it's a separate D23 event that they're just trying to package with this so that people will book longer trips.
I guess so. And it's weird because we don't even own the team anymore. So I don't quite get it.
And when you say we, you mean Disney.
Yes, I'm part of the Disney company. I own shares. Why not? I have a dozen.
Fair enough.
They're not worth as much as they were.
Thanks, Bob.
Which one? It doesn't matter.
Bob and Bob. It doesn't matter. It happens for both. But in any case, so listen, the big news is we're going beyond the Anaheim Convention Center, which is where D23 Expo has always been, going to the Honda Center. Now, I don't geographically know where this is. I probably should have Google mapped this.
It's not far, but it's not close.
Yes. So my big concern is, well, let's take a step back. Honda Center, more people can fit, right? This is the solution to people getting angry that they cannot get into the big panels in the Anaheim Convention Center.
They even said, we know you guys love waiting overnight in line, but we want everyone to be able to see this. So this, instead of, I guess you'll get to wait in traffic instead of waiting in line. Overnight.
So that's the big question. We're going to have to move our cars to do this.
Yeah.
They're not going to shuttle. I think Hall D23, I think it was between 7,000 and 8,000. I don't know how many the Honda Center holds, but it's got to be a hell of a lot more for them to take this giant leap.
Yeah.
So they're not going to bus people who have tickets. So this means it's going to be your responsibility to get to the Honda Center. I got to say, that's really unappealing to me. And I don't know. This is going to be, I'm going to be very interested to see how this unfolds.
I mean, that is the biggest question right now. I think you and me need to start to Polly Burbank's limo bus service real quick.
I was going to say Uber and Lyft are the people benefiting from this because I don't know. I feel like this is
benefiting is a weird word, but yeah.
What was that?
I said benefiting might be a weird word. I'm sure it'll be hellish for them as well, but
but they'll be making bank. So I don't know. This honestly sounds terrible to me, but I don't have a better solution other than, fit more seats in Hall D23. But I personally would rather sit in a virtual queue and take my chances than do this, which I guess I can just skip it. And I guess that's my option. But I don't know. I don't love this solution on paper. Maybe they will surprise me.
If only Disney had a ride system that could move people.
An Omni mover between the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center.
Or a people mover, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so very, very interesting. It sounds like they're going to have different ticket levels where some will be only Anaheim Convention Center, some maybe only Honda Center. My guess is it's probably going to be, and they haven't announced this, but my guess would be Anaheim Convention Center only will be an option, and then another option will be Anaheim Convention Center and Honda Center. I'll be surprised if Honda Center alone is an option, but I could be totally wrong.
If it was just Convention Center, I would have to imagine that that's got to be cheaper than the other. But I would say, like, what else? I know there's still like a ton of panels and stuff, but it feels like that would be almost ideal to some people.
All I know is that tickets prices are going to skyrocket for the, if you want to catch the big panels, it's going to skyrocket. And the question will be like, will there be the option of Saturday only Honda Center or Sunday only? Or is it you got to do both if you're going to do Honda Center? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. It's like kind of exciting news, but at the same time, conventions are hard to begin with when it's in one location. This sounds like Disney does very well these days. They like to overcomplicate things, and this sounds a little bit overcomplicated. I don't know. Like, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but like, I don't know. Is this exciting to you, or does this kind of sound miserable?
The concept sounds great. Making it more like SDCC, where you have the convention itself, but then you have stuff takes over the entire district.
But isn't that all stuff you can walk to?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the idea is like turning all of Anaheim into the D23 thing and having like a huge venue to do all the stuff in does sound amazing. But then, once you get into the logistics, you're like, it's not that close. I'd have to look at a map. Maybe there is a more direct route. I also, because it's off like the 5 and Ball, I think.
I'm checking right now. They're 3 miles apart from each other, so not walkable. It looks like it's pretty much a straight line down
They're going to do the D23 5K. You don't hear about this part. You get a special medal when you get there.
Oh my, Kyle,
I don't know how walkable it is because, I mean, like, I don't know if there's actually like sidewalks and stuff. If there were, then that's a great. You could totally do that.
3 miles is a hefty distance. It's a hefty enough distance that you're not really going to walk it, and so short.
It's going to take you like an hour and a half, depending on the person.
Yeah, and so short that it's just an annoyance to need to move your car and, let's admit, pay for parking again. It's going to be interesting. And I'm going to admit, like, I mean, I've said it on the show, I really thought they were going to skip an expo year because since we haven't heard anything, like, remember when they used to do it, sell day, 1 year before to the day is when tickets would go on sale. They seem to have abandoned that, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
No, I agree with you. I do think it's interesting that I guess we all kind of expected maybe they'd take a year off, get back on the odd numbers, or maybe because they're doing, if they don't have a lot to announce last time, like maybe they pump the brakes on it and instead it's getting larger. So it's kind of a zag.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. It's coming up next year. Tickets go on sale in the spring. We'll, of course, get more information. Let's move on because Destination D23 had a lot to announce. Some of this we'll just gloss over pretty quickly. Some of it will get more in depth. But the Country Bear Jamboree at the Magic Kingdom is getting new songs, and the Bears will be performing a new act beginning in 2024. When the show debuts, the Bears will be reinterpreting favorite Disney songs in different genres of country music, such as bluegrass, rockabilly, pop country, and more. Imagineers are envisioning the new experience as an homage to the classic musical revues in Nashville, and they're working with Nashville musicians to get the authentic country sound. One bear will be getting a slight name change, as Liverlips McGrowell will now be known as Romeo McGrowell. I didn't know Liverlips was offensive, but apparently it is.
I don't know if it's offensive or if there's just a different character. It almost sounds worse to go with Romeo, but
apparently Liverlips refers to the lips that are in some way disproportionately shaped with characteristics akin to liver in color or texture. And this apparently is offensive to people. And, listen, when you hear they're going to redo the Country Bear Jamboree, the immediate thought is, oh, this is to appease the super sensitive people of the 21st century. Because everybody knows, like, there are just controversial songs and moments in the Country Bear Jamboree. This is not a surprise. There was talk in the 80s, I think it was, of like redoing the Country Bear Jamboree with legitimate country stars. Have you ever heard about this?
I think so. I mean, I've heard so many different things over the years, but
yeah. The good news is the attraction lives on. This is an attraction that, certain people love. I think it's a lot of fun. I always go to it when I go to Magic Kingdom. And so this means that it will live on for a good amount of time. Not surprised they're shoving Disney songs in there, but to be fair, the Ballad of Davy Crockett has been part of it for a very, very, very long time. So there has been a Disney tune in there at the very least. And, they're not going to have to pay licensing rights. So that's not surprising. It's fine. It's just, and I'm sure it'll be shorter, right? It's going to be shorter because people's attention spans are crap.
Probably. No, I'll be sad to lose the original, but yeah, it's like, I think everyone realizes it was never going to stay around forever. So if you want it around, you have to make sacrifices. And I don't think this is the worst sacrifice.
Here's what I think should happen, though. I think we should get the Christmas edition back, and I think we need a Halloween edition.
Yes, that'd be fun.
Let's do it. And listen, there's going to be a lot of crowds over there when Tiana's Bayou Adventure opens. So there needs to be a place
get
to
your
put
air conditioning.
People. Yeah, exactly. Come get your air conditioning, enjoy the Country Bear Jamboree, and that's that.
A little awkward given today's news that I don't think we're talking about.
What's that?
On the day that we're recording this, there was a bear at the Magic Kingdom.
Oh, I heard about that. That's so weird.
Yeah, shut down like a good portion of the park for a few hours, and but it was safely captured and brought to the forest.
Yeah, how the heck did a bear get into the Magic Kingdom? That's really interesting, but whatever. And once again, to Imagineering and Walt Disney World, good luck when you feature an alligator in your upcoming Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because now you have bears coming into Magic Kingdom. Pretty sure a gator's going to enter one of these days, but whatever. Interesting choice. Anyway, a new Pirates of the Caribbean themed lounge is coming to Walt Disney World. This new lounge will be found in Adventureland and Magic Kingdom, and Disney says that the venue will be a first of its kind experience, extending the story of Pirates of the Caribbean. Cool.
Yeah, the big question is whether it'll be, I assume it'll serve some sort of alcohol, but will it just be table service? Will you be able, is this the first walk-up alcohol you can get in Magic Kingdom? We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. Okay, after much teasing, the Hatbox Ghost will finally make his debut at Walt Disney World's Haunted Mansion in late November. Now, we did get some new concept art here, and I think this was the first time we see that the Hatbox Ghost, we knew he was coming to the, what's it called, the Never-Ending Hallway, or the, what's it called?
Never-Ending Hallway? No, Endless Hallway.
Endless Hallway, thank you. It actually shows him to the left of it. So he's actually not in the hallway, he's to the left of it. And, we've already talked about the whole storyline continuity issue where we're seeing him before Madame Leota summons him. And my hope was, I really was hoping that there was some good justification as to why we can see him and not the others. There's really not. The explanation they gave is, he's just so powerful that he doesn't need to be summoned. And I was like, wow, that's lazy.
Well, they said that he's an unhappy haunt, and yeah, he doesn't play by the rules, which is, I think, I don't remember where I talked about it. I feel like it was on this show where I was like, yeah, they could just say that, and that's basically what they said. I'll have to rewind the tape and see if I called this one, but they did it. At least they had Uncle Deadly and Gonzo make fun of this whole concept.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was. I don't know. I really have issue with the laziness of it. Like, just
yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't have put it in the same place. I guess I don't know. To be fair, I don't know Magic Kingdom's version as well. So to be like, well, we don't have that area.
There has to have been some place after Leota that they could have put him, but whatever, it's happening. Most people won't even catch the issue, and I'm sure that's what their thinking is. But I would just think with a franchise as important as Haunted Mansion to Disney, a little more love and care would have put into the thought of the placement. And even if that had been like, they had just missed that with the outcry from the public, I would have thought they would have put a little more thought into an explanation, but apparently not so much. Anything else to add with that?
Nope.
Alrighty, here's some shocking news. Disney and Chevrolet are partnering together for a third iteration of Test Track, which will draw inspiration from the pavilion's original attraction, World of Motion. Are you a big World of Motion guy?
I don't think I ever did it. The first memories I have of EPCOT are hearing an announcement of Test Track was coming, so that could have been any time over like a 5-year period.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't think I ever went on World of Motion, but this was easily, pretty easily, the biggest, most surprising I won't say biggest, sorry, but the most surprising news that came out of D23 was just like, really? Like, of all the things you're gonna do, that's what it is. Not that I'm complaining. I guess that's the power of partnership, of sponsorship. But
Yeah, I think that, World of Motion, or not World of Motion, but rather Test Track needs an update. I do vaguely remember riding World of Motion as a kid, but it's not a super, super strong memory. But I love this. Like, harkening back to OG EPCOT is always crowd pleasing for us Disney nerds. So I think that's smart. I also would love to just see something like really good put in there because and Test Track's always been like fun. It's fast and feeling the wind in your hair feels amazing.
I like Tron Track more than the original, actually. But
yeah, I never had a problem with the second iteration. It's just never been an attraction that was like, I don't know. I usually go and don't do it because the lines are always so long, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine. And frankly, the half speed, Radiator Springs Racers is better in my opinion because it has like show elements. So hopefully that's what we're getting with this update to Test Track will be like more memorable show elements. We did get a bit of concept art released, and it shows a sleek, futuristic new car design, seemingly traveling through a forest-like area. So, as we said, more show elements. This is all great and stuff, but like, where's my Spaceship Earth update? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's my friend made a meme as soon as they announced this. It's like, they've seen the thing where the kid's like freaking out in the pool and the like holding the other kid, and it was like, Test Track, Imagineers, Test Track, and then the kid's like Spaceship Earth.
The kid drowning is Spaceship Earth.
Or the rest of Epcot was that, and then like the chair at the bottom of the ocean was Spaceship Earth. And it's like, well, they announced an update for Spaceship Earth, and y'all hated that. So I don't know what's happening with that. I still hope that something does, but it's just kind of funny that people are like, why don't they do something with that? It's like, well, you guys didn't like what they presented last time.
I think the fear was that they were going to put Disney characters into Spaceship Earth, right?
I mean, they could put all the Disney characters they want if I don't, not just descending and tapping buttons on a screen with blue lights around me. If they want to fill that with a bunch of characters, I'm all for it.
In any case, let's move on because Luminous, the Symphony of Us, will debut at Epcot on December 5th, which is also, of course, Walt Disney's birthday. Luminous, the Symphony of Us. Sounds like Illumination's Harmonious had a baby, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does.
Yeah, this new spectacular will feature fireworks, fountains, lasers, lighting effects, and music. The show will also include an original composition and evocative selections from the Disney Songbook. As previously announced, this new spectacular will remind us that we're more alike than different, connecting our hearts together as one. I truly hope this one works out. I'd love to see another 10 to 20 year run of just a super successful show that everybody loves. And it does sound like it's heading back to, there's no mention of LED taco screens or anything like that. It sounds like it's going back to a show that can really be enjoyed from anywhere on World Showcase Lagoon, which I think is the most important thing.
I agree. And hopefully they have drones.
Yeah. Wow. Drones. God, I feel like if it was going to have drones, they would have mentioned it because that's the freak out,
no,
right?
I know.
That's the freak out. But I just think it's although, you know what? The question is, it's too dangerous to fly them out on stage, but couldn't they just be brought out on a barge and then flown?
That's kind of what people are speculating. That's what I would think, is that you could do something like that.
Drones. We need some drones. Also, something that already happened, Figment Meet and Greet has returned to Epcot. Yay! People are excited about this. Following the trend of smaller heads for the mascots, Figment got a smaller head. Oh, Kyle got a strong reaction to that.
It's a little freaky. It looks like a shrunken head, Ned or something.
It does. Yeah, on that body, it does look a bit like a shrunken head. But I will say, it looks very similar to the audio animatronic figure, like just physically.
That's what I've heard. I haven't looked at them back to back, but yeah, if you look at like the older meet and greet, it's shorter. Take that for what you will. But I don't love the look of the head. I think it could be a little bit better, but I don't hate it.
I found that I just need to give the heads time because I had a very strong reaction to Mickey and Minnie when those were done. What was that? Probably 7 years ago at this point or whatever. And I didn't like them, and they've definitely grown on me, and I would say I probably prefer them. My guess is a study was done, and they were like, listen, giant heads are scaring children. I wish they would get the memo that giant eyeballs on animated characters terrify Jeff DePauli because they all look like aliens now, because holy crap. I'll never forget watching a documentary and listening to animator Glenn Keane talk about a certain character he animated and saying, the eyes are the window to the soul, and it's so like in animation they make them larger than they would be in real life, which has been true for a very, very, very long time. They've become enormous. They've become more than half of the head, and it's really disturbing to me. And
there's skylights into the soul.
There's yes, they're giant skylights into the soul. I love it. So, but yeah, I just think big heads terrify children, and they've gotten that memo, and so they're working on it. But even Figment, not immediately my favorite look, but of course, very popular character. I think this once again proves we hear the rumors over and over. Something's got to be done with that ride. Something has to happen to it. I don't think Figment's going anywhere. Like, yes, the ride will hopefully eventually get a redo, but it's not going to, I don't think Inside Out's going to replace Figment the way that the rumors have been flying forever. Or if it does, Figment's being incorporated into whatever goes there, because he is the festival icon in many cases, and people love him.
Yeah, he's the park icon.
Yeah. Alrighty, World Celebration Neighborhood at Epcot will begin welcoming guests this December. World Celebration will unite the front of the park, tying together the other two new Epcot neighborhoods, World Discovery and World Nature. World Celebration will offer a beautiful hub divided into several different gardens, with a central planter based on the 5-ring Epcot logo. Filled with ample seating and shade, it's like a grass area. You'll be invited to connect with one another and the nature around you in this lush new area. Each of these gardens will have their own identities, and they'll change along with the festivals throughout the year. Very smart. It will also be home to the new Communicore Plaza and Communicore Hall, the latter offering a place to meet Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. World Celebration will also anchor the park's renowned festivals. It is also where guests will discover Dreamer's Point, an inspiring overlook showcasing a statue of Walt Disney called Walt the Dreamer. The completion of the last of the park's 3 neighborhoods will be the latest major milestone multi-year transformation of Epcot. I am just excited for construction walls to be down.
Yeah, seriously. It's been so long. They haven't been quite as much of a maze as DCA was back in the day, but
oh gosh, do you remember that? Entering DCA
like daily or weekly.
Yeah, that was wild when Buena Vista Street was being worked on. But yeah, it's definitely been a maze of construction walls at Epcot. Excited to see that finished. It'll be interesting to go back once it is done. In fact, if Laughing Place hasn't done this, I would love to see kind of a list of, I know, we didn't get Mary Poppins and stuff like that, but specifically with that area, the Future World stuff, I'd love to see the list of what was announced and what we actually got. Because I don't know, what do you think we got? Maybe 70%? Or
yeah, because that Play Pavilion, still no idea what's going on with that.
Play Pavilion, there was the whole area or the space that was going to be used for.
Well, the Festival Center was supposed to be much different. It was supposed to be like that 2-story thing that looked really cool, and now we're just getting a convention hall.
Yeah, and then Spaceship Earth, of course.
Spaceship Earth update.
So yeah, maybe 60% we got. I don't know. And then nearby, Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, will officially open on October 16th. Now, is this officially part of Future World, or?
Well, it's not. There's no such thing as Future World. This is World Nature.
So this is going to be part of World Nature. Okay, cool. Excellent. So that's all happening. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't have anything else on that.
Okay, Soarin' Over California, the original iteration of the attraction, will be returning to Epcot starting September 22nd as part of the Disney 100 celebration. No end date was given for the run of the classic attraction, but it will be a limited time run, they say. I don't remember Soarin' Over California ever being at Epcot. When it opened, it was Soarin' Around the World, right?
Nope. It was just called Soarin'. So if they put up a sign that says Soarin' Over California, then this will be the first time that they actually use that full attraction name. But the film was Soarin' Over California.
I forgot about just the Soarin' thing. That's totally right. Yeah, I don't love this option. And I know that I know that people love to see the original come back, but just Soaring Around the World makes so much damn sense for EPCOT that I'm like, what? I get it when it comes back to Disney California Adventure. I'm like, well, that actually makes more sense for Soaring Over California. But I don't know, for EPCOT, nope, stick with the world thing. That's my opinion.
Or it makes more sense with Flower and Garden just based on the tie-in of the orange smell.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, well, it's better than the 100th anniversary of Disney.
Yeah, it's an odd decision. Is attendance low for Soarin'? I'd be surprised. It always seems to be a pretty popular ride, but in any case,
they added the third theater for it, which I guess was probably 10 years ago now, but...
Yeah. But in any case, that's happening. The character Ahsoka Tano, very popular, will become a part of Star Tours at Disney's Hollywood Studios, Disneyland Park in California, and Disneyland Paris beginning next spring. So another update to Star Tours. That promise is being kept now for a long time. We were waiting for, you promised us updates. Now it's like never ending, but we'll take them, I guess. Kyle, why don't you take this next story because there's some stuff going on over at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, so you know how everyone hated at the expo, how they talked about, well, maybe we could do this and maybe we're thinking about this?
Yeah.
Well, they did more of that at Destination D23 this time. So it sounds like this is a little bit more definite, but the idea is that they're taking Dinoland's basically dead. The idea is to transform
it's always
into a
been dead. They're dinosaurs.
It's a good point. To the tropical Americas is what they're calling it. So like South America and thereabouts. So then they talked about some other options that could come into it. So one of the things that they teased is something like the Indiana Jones adventure. Well, they didn't say Indiana Jones adventure, but that character having a part in this area, as well as the family madrigal could also be a part of it. So we don't know anything for sure, but that's kind of what they're thinking. You know, they point out there's an Asia, there's an Africa, so now we'll have this tropical Americas, and they just haven't decided what characters and themes are going to necessarily be there 100%.
So it's still called Disney's Animal Kingdom, right?
Yes, so I would imagine that the madrigals, I think they have some connections to animals. I don't know about Dr. Jones, but
snakes. Why does it have to be snakes?
There are definitely snakes and maybe rats. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think visually
he's an explorer. Is he a paleontologist? Is that what he does?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and he's a professor. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they could, you could even tie, if he's a paleontologist, you could even use some of the existing Dinoland stuff. There could be, I don't know, there could be tie-ins. Can I go on a little bit of a soapbox here for a second?
Please do it.
I'm sure that while we're talking about Animal Kingdom, we're going to talk about another project. And I've seen so many people that are immediately like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. What about this and this and this? And it's like, I'm not saying that Disney is going to fix all of those issues, but I think you could have a little bit more imagination and think of ways that you can fix these things.
I mean, 2 words, though. 2 words. Hatbox Ghost. To be fair,
Jeff, they said
they did not fix it. No,
he plays by his own rules.
If that's the fix and the justification, I do not accept. But listen, I think I get both sides of the story here. I do think the term theme park is becoming looser and looser and looser and looser, and I honestly don't think theme parks really exist anymore. I think Disney's Animal Kingdom is one of the few theme parks that still exists. And my fear is that this might strip it away a bit, but we'll see. I hope there's some justification. I do think that the whole, the way that the park's laid out with the different continents and stuff, I think that makes sense. I think the 2 stories they're going to feature aren't really animal-specific stories, but we'll see. We'll see what they do. I think the real fear is that it's very well known that, Dinosaurs Track is the same as the Indiana Jones Adventure track at Disneyland. So the easy, lazy fix and cheaper fix is to just recreate that attraction. And that's what we don't want, because let's face it, that I love the Indiana Jones Adventure, but that does not fit Disney's Animal Kingdom. So we'll see. Yeah, and once again, this may not happen. This was another one of those, let's test the water, see how people react. We might do this because there were definitely other franchises mentioned at D23 Expo last year to replace this area.
I don't know if they're still holding back because of the political issues in Florida or what, but it's kind of weird because we got I think we got more news out of this than a normal Destination D23. But then there was still that like, okay, but you didn't announce anything huge, and the one like what would be huge, you kind of held back on and kind of were wishy-washy on it.
Yeah, I actually feel like they gave more updates than they did at D23 Expo. I don't know if that's statistically accurate.
Blow for blow, maybe not, but
yeah, I'm not sure if that's statistically accurate. But when I look just in my head, I was like, holy, like there was a lot of stuff coming out that I was like, oh. And here's the other thing. I never expect much news from Destination D23, whereas I always expect a ton from D23 Expo. So maybe it was just like my preconceived
expectations
notions
versus reality. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's that. Can you talk about the Tree of Life, Kyle?
I can talk about the Tree of Life. So I will admit that when we were watching the live stream, me and the other person on our team that was watching, both when they talked about bringing the world of Zootopia to the Tree of Life, it sounded like a projection show because they've done those Tree of Life awakenings. We're like, oh, cool. They're going to, just kind of have some of the characters up there. And then he said something about an animatronic. And we're like, oh, that's weird that they're using the animatronic because they just announced the Hong Kong thing where you have an animatronic of the character he was talking about. And so we're like, that's where they're going to use like a video of an animatronic. And they're like, oh no, once they actually released the concept art, it's taking over. It's tough to be a bug. Yeah. So it's going to take you to the world of Zootopia, to, the town of Zootopia. And that's all we really know. And this is the thing where people are like, so are you still shrinking down to the size of a bug? Why are the animals big? And I'm like, well, maybe you crawl under the tree and you get on a subway and go to Zootopia. Like, you don't know.
I will say that It's Tough to Be a Bug was so fitting for that location. If I'm remembering correctly, the Tree of Life initially was just a park icon, like Cinderella Castle. And I believe Michael Eisner was like, no, let's make it more like a Spaceship Earth or a Chinese theater where there's an attraction inside. And truly a stroke of genius to put bugs inside the tree, I thought. So I will miss that stroke of genius. How they justify it, I don't know. Here's the thing that concerns me a little bit. It says that for the new experience, it has guests visiting the different biomes you only get a glimpse of beforehand, and traveling along with Judy Hopps, Nick Wilde, and other characters. Now, if you're visiting different biomes, I'm curious how they're going to do that in a 3D movie attraction, because the thing that I've always loved about Disney 3D attractions or 4D attractions is that they've been like one location and it's made sense. It's, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, you're at an award show. It's Tough to Be a Bug, you're actually watching a show inside of the Tree of Life. If you're going to different locations, I'm very curious to see how they do that or justify that without it just being a 3D movie as opposed to a living experience. Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, I get that. So It's Tough to Be a Bug is presented almost like a variety show almost, sort of, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess you could do something like a film festival or something where you're seeing documentaries of these different places that are interactive. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. It could
also be like the queue is the different biomes, and then the show is whatever. Yeah, we don't know a ton of details. They only have released a piece of concept art. Instead of Hopper, you'll have an animatronic there.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Like I said, Disney's always been really good about like justifying the 3D and 4D nature of those attractions. So I have faith that they will do the same with this. I'll be curious to see how it's done, though. And I believe this will be the end of It's Tough to Be a Bug as a whole. Is that true? I don't think it's anywhere else.
I think so. I think it was just the two of them.
Yeah. I'll be very sad to see that go. I got to say, I thought it was a phenomenal 4D attraction. I loved seeing the kids get the crap scared out of them when those spiders came down and it got all dark. I thought it was so much fun. I really, really like that attraction.
It's an attraction where I literally sit on the edge of my seat so I don't get poked.
Oh, I love it. I love being stung in that attraction. It's so much fun. The bugs crawling under your butt after. Oh my God, it's so much fun. A really, really fun, clever attraction. And I will be sad to see it go. And but hey, listen, long run, 1998. It's been a long time. Yeah. So good for it. And we got a new look at a new attraction for Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure that will send Marvel fans into the multiverse. This, they showed basically a ride concept vehicle. If you've experienced the amazing adventures of Spider-Man, I believe it's called, at Universal's Islands of Adventure, or the Transformers rides at the Universal Studios theme parks, it looks very similar to that, I must say.
And when it also says that they're going to mix practical,
large-scale built environments and immersive media,
yeah, it sounds a lot like that, which is it's good. It works.
It's a phenomenal ride system. Phenomenal.
The Spider-Man ride holds up, but it's been 20 years.
In 1999, that ride opened. And I will say, like you said, it holds up. I still think it's one of the best ride system that exists. It's just not very proprietary. I'll be surprised if there's not another element added to that ride system for this new attraction. I hope. That's my hope. But yeah, and I hope that there's more large-scale environments versus the media, hopefully. But we'll see. Kyle, we got a 7th cruise ship coming, and it's going to be named the Dizney Adventure. Disney Cruise Line revealed an updated name for their new island as well. For a long time, we were calling it all Lighthouse Point. It's going to be called Disney Lookout Key at Lighthouse Point, which I think makes sense because, of course, Castaway Key is their other island. So just, the nice bow on the box, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think it's a little weird that they decided to name this other cruise ship the Adventure right after making a big deal about how the treasure is going to be themed to adventure.
Yeah, that is an odd choice, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm also surprised that we have a name for that ship already. I guess it's really coming up quickly.
Yeah, the ships are just...
this is the acquired one, just so people are aware. This isn't going to be in America. This is going to be at least home ported in Singapore for at least 5 years. I think starting in 2025. So this is the one that they bought dirt cheap that was already in production that they're making a Disney ship.
Yeah.
That's going to be the Disney Adventure, the 7th ship. And then they still have an 8th one, which is one of the ones that they built for them. It was built for them.
Yep. Moving on, in honor of Disney 100, D23 will host Disney 100 D23 Royal Anniversary Ball at the Walt Disney Studios lot on Sunday, October 15th. And also for Disney 100, Disney 100 the exhibition will continue its multi-city run in Chicago starting on November 18th, 2023. And that was a big slew of news coming out of Destination D23. Anything you want to add about any of that before we move on to a couple of other smaller stories?
It was a decent amount of news. I can't think of anything I'm like super excited for coming out of it. I guess, if they do end up doing that expansion, they also kind of said, one other thing I'll mention is they didn't talk too much about what's beyond Big Thunder, but they did say that it'll be the largest expansion of Magic Kingdom to date, and that they're thinking on the scale of something like Galaxy's Edge. So whatever they come up with, hopefully it'll be really cool, but they did not even venture any more, they didn't posit any other ideas of what could be going there.
Maybe, sort of, could happen, but it sounds like something's going to happen. They're talking about the size of it. They've already moved land for it, so something's going to happen.
It's good for us that they didn't mention IP, because we can't mention it anyway.
Moving on, Disney Live Entertainment is casting roles for upcoming special events and appearances at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California. The listing is seeking performers local to Southern California to portray the 5 members of the smash musical act Four Town from a film we cannot mention. And, listen, it's a boy band. That gets me excited. And it gives me an excuse to talk about the recent NSYNC news that has nothing to do with Disney. But did you see?
I thought you were going to say that you get excited, you get flush, and you turn red when you think about it.
Oh, that works as well. Very good, Kyle. But no, have you seen this NSYNC stuff happening?
I saw that they were at the VMAs together and presented an award to Tay-Tay. And they have a new song coming out that maybe Justin is associated with some other project. And you can hear part of that if you look up what project he's doing.
Yeah, and they've also been doing teases on social media, and they're doing an episode of Hot Ones, which is a very popular YouTube show. There's a lot of NSYNC happening, and this boy is here for all of it. And I am so excited.
I knew you would be.
There's going to be. I mean, there's already been a reunion, right? There's
the first new song.
There's a new song from NSYNC. That's very exciting. Vegas, here we come. That's all I'm saying. I don't know anything. I'm just assuming and hoping and living for this. Anyway, Four Towns coming to Disneyland. NSYNC is back on the world. life is good, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Disneyland has paused new sales of the Inspire Key, the highest priced Magic Key option, after a recent settlement in a class action lawsuit with Magic Key holders that I talked about earlier in the episode. Now, the Inspire Key was the last option still available for purchase, so there are currently no Magic Keys currently being sold. Get rid of the park reservations. That solves the issue. If they're worried about the lawsuit thing, like the lawsuit was over reservations,
well, the lawsuit
right?
was just for, no, it was just for, and it's also just for Dream. They don't have the Dream Key anymore. So I don't think it's actually related. I think the timing, just the day, a couple days after they announced the settlement terms, but the settlement also happened a while ago. So I don't think it has anything, I don't think they're related. It's easy to relate them in your mind because you're like, well, I just heard this about Annual Pass, and now this I see Annual Pass. I don't think that they're related, but I could be wrong.
I still state, get rid of park reservations, please.
That's fine. I'm just saying, like, I think this just means that people finally bought them all. It took longer than we thought.
So they're sold out. Renewals for current Magic Key holders will still occur within the renewal window up to 30 days before pass expiration. But as of right now, if you want one, you can't get one unless you're renewing one. And that's how it's going to be for a while.
Until they raise the price and re-release them.
Anywho, Kyle, there was a bunch of news about the Disney Treasure cruise ship that came out. We're going to hold on to that for the next House of Mouse headlines because this was a ton of news already. But anything else you want to add before we get going here?
How'd you enjoy Oogie Boogie?
Oh, Oogie Boogie was fun. Judge Doom is incredible. It's a full-on moment that he has. Not surprised. You know, I did avoid most of the video footage that was put online because I wanted to experience it. It was great. You know, the party is the party. I have a ton of candy in my house right now from the party because I had two friends visiting from out of town who didn't travel home with their candy, and now it's all in my home. And yeah, lots of candy. It's a great party, but I do reiterate, like, it's not a party I feel I need to go to every year. I'm not going to say I was bored by any means, but it was definitely like, okay, like, I've done this. There's not that much different. The interesting thing about it is that the most interesting thing is the new characters that come for the treat trails, yet they don't need them because it sells out in advance anyway. But at the same time, like, I feel like that is it's a FOMO thing. I think people fear missing out on an incredible treat trail character that has yet to be announced. So at the time of ticket sales, so it's really, really
they
interesting.
really only hit upon in the past like couple years.
Totally.
So yeah, it's pretty cool, and I'd recommend people go back and listen to your episode where the team behind this talks about it, because that was really interesting, and I think it's a formula that's going to keep working for them. And if this is the level of characters we're already seeing, I can only imagine what we'll get in the future.
Yeah, I do think that they could very much take a year off next year from having any new characters, and it would sell out, and then there would be no new characters, and people would be like, oh, bummer. And then the next year, it would still sell out, maybe a little slower if people felt like there wouldn't be new characters, but then they bring in new characters that year. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they don't, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the people who create this party truly love this party and are really going to fight for that new stuff. But, you know, they're getting rid of some classic characters. Like Judge Doom replaced Maleficent. First of all, that poor woman is having a rough year. First, her dragon's gone. Now she's gone from the party. Like, sad days for Maleficent.
Yeah.
But I will say still, to this day, the best part of Oogie Boogie Bash and the thing that's worth the entry is Villains Grove. Unbelievable still. It hasn't really changed since, you know, its inauguration. It is phenomenal. Still gets me emotional. I just love it on so many levels. But yeah, and I will be talking more about Oogie Boogie Bash a little bit later on, closer to Halloween, because there will be an episode. You know what? Here's a sneak peek. Let's hope this happens because we're supposed to do this, but it's going to be Disney Halloween parties coast to coast to see, because somebody's coming on the show who's doing Oogie Boogie Bash, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and the party on one of the Disney cruise ships. So
I think it's Halloween on the High Seas.
yeah, one of those. So yes, so there'll be more Oogie Boogie Bash talk to come. But yeah, I had a fun time, and it was great going with friends who had never been. And actually, one of them, it was their first time ever at a Disneyland Resort park. And the next day, they did Disneyland for the first time. So lots and lots of fun. Anyway, Kyle, I'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks with more news and talk about the Disney Treasure cruise ship then.
Sounds good.
To read more about any and all of the stories you've heard here today, simply visit the show notes link in this episode's description. You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What's your favorite part of the news to come out of Destination D23? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569, and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing and following Disney, with a Z, Coast to Coast on your favorite podcast app, where episodes are available 24/7. Until next time, anything you need can be found in this episode's description. From additional information and links discussed in this episode found in the show notes, contact info to reach me, access to the show's official website, some free gifts from me to you, and so much more. So be sure to check out this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!